Hi everyone, this is Valentina again. So today I'm gonna give you a few tips to start with drop back. And this was a question that I was asked a few days ago, and I decided to make a video tutorial about it. Now, let's say that you have already worked through your full primary series and you have a good and stable Urdhva Dhanurasana, which is wheel posture. And then you're gonna start to drop back. So let's say that you are bringing your mat towards the wall so that you can rely on the wall at the beginning as your support. Now let's go a little back first and see what is a backbend with the spine. So backbend with the spine, of course, is a backbend, which is the spine that you are bending towards the back of your body. There is something that is really important that I wanted you to think about. That is, what is the role of your core and your glutes? Okay, so this is an important topic that you're going to hear a lot from a lot of teachers, many teachers. Now, my experience, and as also I was taught, is that you don't want to squeeze the muscles in your glutes. There is a reason why, because every time that you squeeze the muscles in the glutes, your pelvis tugs under, which means that you are posteriorly tilting your pelvis. So if I'm gonna give you an example, let me see if you can see me. Now, when I squeeze my glutes, look at my pelvis, what happens? You see? You can try by yourself. Just stay there, standing, squeeze the glutes, squeeze them, and see what happens to your pelvis. Okay? Now, doing this one brings compression to your lower back and the area where you have the sacrum and the first vertebrae, that you actually want to start from there to lengthen, activate, arch before you are lifting and bending back. Okay? Now, when you are squeezing your glutes and you are compressing the area, you are actually blocking the energy, blocking the muscles that are there, which prevent you to have a safe, a healthy, and a strong backbend. Okay? So one of the important things is not squeezing of the glutes, but engaging. The engagement that comes from your bandhas, not from squeezing the muscles in the glutes. Now, I know that I have said glutes so many times, but it's really, really important that you really understand that one, okay? So you can try a few times, you stand up, you stay there, you squeeze the glutes, and you try to feel what is happening. Also feel that every time that you are squeezing your glutes, your thighs are externally rotating. Because when you are tilting your pelvis forward, the thighs, naturally speaking, tend to externally rotate, which means that in the hip joint, there is an activation of the muscles that externally rotate the femur bone, which means your leg. Okay? So when we are in back bend, actually we don't want to do that one. We want to keep the knees straight forward, and we want to keep resisting that external rotation of the hip joint, because again, when you are externally rotating and you are squeezing your glutes, you are compressing the area that is in between your sacrum and your lower back. So you are compressing, which means that you might experience, you are more likely, and I would say 99.9% likely to experience that pinching, that compression, that pain in your lower back. And we don't want to have that one, to keep the spine safe and healthy. Okay? Now, said that, let's talk about what happens to your chest and your shoulders. Okay, so the shoulders and the chest, they are gonna lift away from the hips. So that when you lift, see what happens to your spine? You actually making space in between each vertebrae. So that when you make space in between the vertebrae, there is the space that then safely and healthily for your discs and your vertebrae, the bone on the vertebrae, to arch back, as we said, in a healthy way. Okay? Because if you don't make space and you don't bring the upper body away from the hips, when you are back bending, you basically are crunching the vertebrae together. Okay, makes sense, right? So how do we make space? How do we make space is that if you are standing with your feet kind of parallel on each other. Now, you can either bring your feet a little turning outside. Is that okay? But try not to do something like this, because something like this, remember what we said, you are externally rotating your hip joints. Okay, so you are externally rotating your knees, and then when you are back bending, your knees are in a lot of pressure, in a rotation of the joints, and is not really healthy and safe. Okay, so we want to have the feet kind of parallel on each other, a little just outside, very gently, depending on the composition of your hips. And then when you are there, you want to make space in the spine, so you want to lift up towards the sky, as I usually say. Right? Now, when you are there, one of the mistakes that I see in students, that they are not really aware of what is the technique and the mechanics of the spine and the back bend, is that you squeeze in your shoulder blades together, because when you squeeze the shoulder blades together, it gives you that impression that you are back bending. Now, the same as the compression and the squeeziness of the glutes that is compressing the back area and the sacrum is the same with your shoulder blades. When you are squeezing your shoulder blades together, you are compressing the muscles that are alongside of your thoracic spine, right? We want to have space there, which means that we want to have the shoulder blades going away from one each other, and not together, not squeezing them together, right? How do we do that one? We bring, actively speaking, the shoulder blades away from one each other, and when we are with the arms below the chest, we tend to internally rotate the shoulders, and so that we make space behind the back. Now, if you want to see my shoulders, I'm not squeezing, but I am making space, bringing the shoulder blades away from one each other. Now, when you are there, avoid to do this. Yeah, you don't want to do this one. It's not bringing your collarbones together, and just not hunching, I think is an English word, hunching forward, right? But you want to keep your collarbones free and open, but you want to bring the shoulder blades away from one each other, lifting up, okay? Now, when you are there, remember, we are not squeezing the glutes, but we are engaging the bandhas, and we are lifting. And then we want to initiate the back bend from the lower back and the sacrum, which means that we try to lift the tailbone up so that we give the input to the column, to the spine, to the nervous system to lift and back bend. Okay? So what you're doing there is that you make space, you lift, and then at some point you start lifting the tailbone, and the second thing that you're doing is that you start bringing your hips forward before back bending and going back. Okay, so you round, you lift, you bring your shoulder blades away from one each other, you lift the tailbone, and you bring your hips forward, and you start going back. Now, when you are here, resist the temptation to bring your shoulder blades together, okay? Don't squeeze them. Because then, when you are there, you bring your head back, and you look back towards the wall. Now, this might be already your maximum for today, which is absolutely great, but if you can do something more, is that when you are there, you bring your arms up and back, you straight. You can bring some space before in between your hands, and then you try to touch the wall, and with the exhalation, with the inhalation, you come up again and you bring your hands on your heart again. Okay, so let's try that. Now, another thing is that we talked about the internal rotation when your arms are below the chest. When your arms are above the chest, the shoulder joint externally rotate. Okay, so when your arms are above the shoulders, above the chest, we are not internally rotating the shoulders, but we are externally. Now, this external rotation of your shoulders, spiraling your arms up, you're gonna find that you make space in between your shoulder blades, which is still what we wanna have, right, in a back bend. So when you are there, make sure you have enough space, but not too much, otherwise you might fall down on the floor. We don't want to have that one. So make enough space. Feel the sensation that you are bringing your shoulder blades together so that you can make space in between the vertebrae. Don't squeeze the glutes. Start touching your spine, your lower spine. Bring your hips forward. Bring your head back. Now when you are there, let's try. Keep feeling, resisting the shoulder blades squeezing together. Bring your arms up and back. Now feel the external rotation of your shoulder. Externally, as I usually say, close your armpits so that you feel your shoulder blades going away from one each other. And then try to go down on the wall a little. And maybe if you can, I am a little too far away, and maybe if you can, when you are there, you can try to touch the wall. Inhale, come up, lift up, hands on your chest. Alright, let's try again. So you are there, make sure that there is enough space, but not too much, not to fall on the floor. Remember, don't squeeze the glutes, but engage your bandhas, both of them, in a way that you are engaged in your core muscle. Draw the belly in, shoulder blades away from one each other. Inhale, make space, arch the lower back, bring your hips forward, lift your head, lift your arms, make a little space between your hands. Keep rotating, look at my shoulders, rotate, make space in between your shoulder blades. And exhale, bring your hands on the wall. Inhale, come up, hands on your waist, on your chest. Yay, right? That was much fun. Okay, now, what is about the legs? The legs are super strong, because as in Urdhva Dhanurasana, the legs are the foundation of the back bend. Now, let's stay a couple of breaths there on the wall and see what happens. Inhale, lift again. And exhale, you want to go back. Remember, don't squeeze the glutes. Good. Now, when you have your hands on the wall, what do we do? Resist the temptation to squeeze the shoulders together. Okay? But press your hands over the wall and make space in each vertebra of the spine. Maybe you want to try to start walking there. Now remember, we don't want to sink towards the lower back. We want to keep lifting the rib cage. We want to keep arching the spine. Then you can still walk a little more. And inhale, walk. And come up, exhale. Good. So I think that for today it's enough. So thank you so much again for watching the video. I really hope that the tips are good enough for you, and that you are happy with them. And leave your comment below. Let me know if there is any other asana that you would like to work on, and I'm more than happy to do a video about it. And that's it. So I really wish you a beautiful Friday, an amazing weekend, and I will see you soon. Namaste.